As I'm sure most of you know, things seem to be escalating with regards to what might be called the cultural war being waged at present. And while the energy on our side of the fence seems to be growing exponentially, the efforts to squelch and deplatform seem to increase in direct proportion. There's been a great deal of talk and debate as to the best course of action here, with some laying out very specific step-by-step plans to help right the ship. Speaking personally, I don't think we're at the stage where this is viable yet. I'm always reminded of some variant or another on those wise words of a Prussian field marshal about how no battle plan can hope to survive first contact with the enemy. And I think this holds all the more true in our case. Those of us fighting against the enthusiastic degeneration and subversion of all that we love of our culture are obviously opposed by an immense amount of money and power. And though the number of people attempting to force this new way of life on Western nations seems quite small, they've somehow managed to monopolize nearly every major organ of influence and media, and prove time and time again that they're more than willing to use underhanded tactics in attempts to preserve this monopoly. They're more organized and more experienced when it comes to spreading their message and getting things done. And we have been very, very bad at this in comparison. Their censorship efforts are so extreme because the ideas they're seeking to squelch are so powerful. And the healthier worldview we speak to so easily and so quickly resonates with those able to hear it. We simply need more unity, organization, and structure, and a clearer understanding of who we are, what we seek, and a greater sense of focus and purpose. We need to begin recreating our culture and simply begin collaborating and getting things done in a robust, decentralized, and unassailable way, so as not to provide any single target for these nefarious parties to attack or defame. One great solution for those seeking to establish a few real-world connections with like minds would be the content creator Way of the World's idea he's labeled Nationalist Connect, which I highly recommend and which I've linked in the video description below. We obviously need much more of this moving forward, but we also need far better organization online. To that end, I'm proud to finally officially announce at long last what we're calling the Phoenix Project, a title chosen to represent some first steps in a rebirth, a rising from the ashes of a culture and people and ideas and traditions that have been destroyed and suppressed in the most aggressive manner. For the past many months, I've heard countless ideas with immense potential, concepts and projects that might help channel the wealth of energy we have in concrete and meaningful directions. And over this same period, I've heard people reach out more times than I could possibly count, asking the question, what can I do? How can I help move things forward? The goal here is simply to unite these ideas with this energy. We'll be making use of a simple chat discussion environment online called Riot, which can be found at riot.im, linked in the video description. Sign up is free, of course, and a quick and easy process. We've been engaging in something of a test run for the past few months, and several hundred have already joined, but up until now it's merely been a place to casually socialize. One of the goals was to find a handful of highly trusted and competent individuals to help build this larger project in the future, and I'm happy to say that this goal has definitely been accomplished. And in the meantime, several amazing sub-communities and sub-discussions have developed. Some of these are so active I'm no longer able to keep up, and I can honestly say I've learned more and more efficiently from some of these high-level discussions than I do via any other type of research online. And this, to me, hints at the potential of online environments like this, if properly carried out. Now that we have a core of trusted members willing to help moderate and find and appoint other moderators, and generally help organize and keep good order, we're now able to take the next step. The goal of this Phoenix project will be very simple and straightforward. It'll aim to be a permanent and reliable facilitator to help launch projects. We'll still have the component of free chats and discussions, and we shouldn't neglect the importance of these. Socializing and developing a sense of community is absolutely key. But in parallel to this, we'll be devoting the majority of our attention to getting things done. Any type of project idea is welcome to be voiced here. Anyone with an idea for a project that might benefit the broader community can suggest this idea to any of the moderators, who will then serve as judges of sorts, discussing the merits of each idea in a room devoted to this task. The best of these ideas will be added to an ever-growing list, and one by one, based on overall feedback and interest level and other relevant factors, they'll choose what they feel are the best of them and launch a new project room accordingly. When each new project is launched, it'll be announced globally across the entire community, and those interested in participating can then apply to join the project room to aid in the effort. To give an example, if my idea is accepted as a worthwhile one, I'll be launching a project room devoted to collaborative research to assist in the creation of my subverted history videos. These project ideas can be anything. They can serve some artistic vision, or create a corporate construct that might serve the broader community. Speaking personally, I'd love to see a project oriented around finding high-quality narration voices, to read some literary classics or important historical works, and to eventually create something of an audio library accordingly. Or the creation of some concise guide on avoiding poisons in our food and water, especially those that wreak havoc on the brain or hormonal systems. A project might be kickstarted solely to create a single video, or a YouTube channel, or podcast, or live stream discussion. Anything. Many of these collaborative projects might yield an end result product as the goal of their efforts. An ebook or PDF file, or video or audio file. We'll not only announce the best of these across the entire TPP community as they're completed, but also have a room devoted to acting as an archive to house them all, to allow anyone to access and download them at any time, and even spread them far and wide if they wish. This archive also allows us to improve upon and add to one another's work. For example, a project room might be created to take an existing document from the archive and add to it or somehow refine it, and if the end result is superior to the initial version, the room of judges and moderators might decide to replace it entirely, or list the new file as a 2.0 version. Projects might even be as simple as the collaborative formulation of best of type lists by genre and type. For example, a list of top 10 suggested ancient historical works, or a best of list of video documentaries. A project room might even be devoted to a book club or film club, in which everyone reads or watches the same work to discuss. I hesitated to even provide examples as I don't want to constrain our vision here. As always in life, we really are limited only by our imagination. In short, anything we collectively deem to be an efficient use of our time towards concrete and positive goals could be made into a project. I feel this allows us great flexibility and ideally allows for progress on several fronts simultaneously, while allowing us to get to better know one another, form friendships and connections, and even, hopefully, some lasting communities, both online and off. To give a brief outline of the structure, just so we're all clear and on the same page, there will be a seed ideas archive in which the judges/moderators post any idea that seems to have both merit and some interest behind it. And this list will be reposted every few days or so in something of a hierarchy, with the most popular at the top, and the least popular will be periodically rotated out. Anyone interested in leading or organizing a project based around one of these seed ideas needs only to voice this to a moderator, and if accepted, their project will be publicly announced, and they can choose to accept as many or as few participants as they wish from those that apply to join. The project room list will be another list we'll periodically repost in a rough hierarchy, with the more popular project collaborations listed at the top, allowing new participants to request to join. Completed projects will be rotated out and new projects rotated in, and ongoing projects will always be listed for as long as they stay active. And finally, the library archive will be where the final products of those collaborations that lead to the creation of something will be virtually stored for download or distribution by any TPP member. Videos, documents, audio files, graphics or visuals, anything tangible that results from projects. I'd like to make clear, for liability reasons, that this isn't my construct or the creation of any other one individual. It's only a place for us to gather, chat, and work together. I encourage all participants to always communicate as safely as you would on any other platform. Assume that your every word is visible to anyone and everyone, and exercise caution accordingly. No threats of violence or any similar behaviors will be tolerated under any circumstances. It's difficult not to feel anger and frustration at the state of decline in the world. The goal will be to channel this in healthy and worthwhile directions. And speaking of constructs that might allow us to channel energy in more meaningful directions, one of the most important projects I'll be looking to engage in here is the building of the social media platform I described in a previous video, which I've also linked to in the video description for those interested. I'm extremely intrigued to begin laying the foundation for this at long last, and I feel I'm finally in a position to do so. We'll either attract the necessary programming skill to begin laying the foundation using our own coding talent, or I'll make use of outside private contractors, or some combination of the two, and we'll launch a project room to help guide the process. But one way or another, construction should begin soon. I can't help but believe the longer-term ramifications of this platform will be extremely significant if it's built properly. And those who earn trust from the community in this Phoenix project environment will see this transfer over into a more influential role in the early stages of the new platform. One final note, considering our precarious position throughout the world, we no longer have the luxury of wasting time. For this construct to be optimally efficient, we'll need to focus on those types of individuals that are obviously genuine, thoughtful, and eager to somehow play a constructive part. And conversely, we'll need to take a slightly harder line against those that cause friction or are in any way a net negative. Those who are especially contentious or arrogant or hopeless and mopey may want to steer clear, unless they're willing to work on these traits. We want to see people getting things done, or at least be able to enjoy an inspiring and uplifting environment. We do live in a world that can be deeply depressing and disheartening. The cure for this isn't to share every instance of this darkness with one another and swim in it all day, but rather to do the opposite. This should be something of a refuge from the sickness in the world at large, not its discussion epicenter. In summary, the focus will be on solutions, not problems. For those with relevant skill sets, I'd love to see us work together to create new companies, or even the beginnings of some type of novel barter system, or some means to buy and sell directly with one another and begin keeping our money in-house. I'd love to see people collaborating to create videos or podcasts or music or any brand of artistic production. I'd love to see us discuss the future, free-flowing discussion on ideal political or economic structures, even the possibility of Amish-like communities and how they might be developed and function. So that's about it. If you're one of those who's ever asked the question, what can I do or how can I help? I strongly encourage you to sign up and take a look, even if you seek nothing more than casual conversation with like minds. Though I think almost anyone could eventually find a project launched that they're interested in playing some part of. Our time is short, and the environment online is changing, quickly, and not in our favor. The stakes couldn't be higher, And if we don't start finding means and methods to find like minds and work together towards healthier solutions, the future will be extremely difficult. Let's stop being merely reactionary and begin some proactive authoring of our own destiny. I hope to see you there.